गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। We are in Kenopanishad, Prathama Khanda, verse number 5. And in the last verse, what was that? The last verse was Yad Vachanubhyuditam Yena Vagyam Vagbhyudyate Tadeva Brahma Tvam Vidhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate. This is the Dhruti. Dhruti means whenever the second line is continuously the same. तो वैसे ही इसमें ये नेक्स्ट 3 वर्सेस तदेव ब्रह्म त्वं विद्धि न इदम यदिदम उपासते, ये बार बार आ रहा है. सो फर्स्ट वाज विद वाच and there we saw vak and vag meaning vani, and now we come to that it cannot illuminate the illuminator of the speech. Similarly, now yan manasa na manute yena ahur manomatam tadeva brahma tvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Together, yan manasa na manute yena ahur manomatam tadeva brahma tvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Who is this? What is this reality? That which cannot be thought of by the mind. Yan manasana manute. But instead, what is it? It is that it is because of which the mind is able to think, able to contemplate, able to imagine, able to have thoughts. That power is this. That is that Keneshitam. And Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhin. And this one you understand it to be the Brahman. And this Brahman is beyond the Desh Kala Vastu. These are the 3 parameters. And the one who does upasana, yadidam upasate, na idam yadidam upasate. He who does not does the upasana of the mind, but remembers, contemplates subjectively that, contemplates on that reality because of which the mind is functioning. He is the wise one. So, in other words, here it is not written he is the wise one, but here it is written that Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi na idam yadidam upasate na idam. He does not does upasana, he does not contemplate on or contemplate on the mind as the reality, or he who continuously, the other way to put it is he who continuously remembers, because we are continuously thinking, isn't it? Our mind is functional at this moment. You are listening and I am talking. We have to know that this mind which is expressing through thoughts, and the one, and you people who are listening, you are listening through your mind only, through your ears, but then thoughts are coming in your mind, understanding is happening in your mind, convict uh, un, ideas are being received by your mind by way of thoughts. All this is not other than Brahman. Through these tools, through these faculties, through these equipments, we cannot come to know the reality that which is inspiring all this. So, again, in the same way, here he says, यन्मनसा न मनुते मन इत्यन्तःकरणं मनसोः एकत्वेन गृह्यते मनुते अनेन इति मनः सर्वकरण साधारणं सर्वविषय व्यापकत्वात्. It is that reality is that without which the mind cannot contemplate by way of thoughts, and then buddhi manasoho ekatvena gruhyate, and here we have to take and or understand that mind and intellect as one, meaning that the man means the entire antahkaran. Don't take mind only as the mind. So where are the thoughts coming? In the antahkaran. When the thoughts are of indecisiveness, they are called mind. When they are of decisiveness, they are called intellect. When they are of the nature of memory, then they are called chitta, mana, buddhi, chitta. And if the thought is of I, which says all these are mine, then it is called ahankar. So it is one mind, it's one antahkaran. That's what is being told here. Ekatvena gruhyate. Mind is one, appearing as many. Woman is one, appearing as many. Man is one, appearing as many. Water is one, appearing as many waves. Gold is one, appearing as many ornaments. Same way. That by which we contemplate, that we are able to think, we are able to imagine, we are able to contemplate, is called mind. Manute anena iti mana sarva karana sadharanam sarva vishaya vyapakatvat. And this mind, sarva vishaya vyapakatvat, this mind is that which it is in and through functioning through all the sense perceptions. Therefore, for all the sense perceptions, seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, for them, someone's audio is on. Please put it off. How many? I have put it off now. So, for one mind functioning through all the senses or organs of action and organs of perception, but for all the organs of perception and all the organs of action, it is only one mind, and that one mind is pervading. It is the cause. And these senses, sense perception as well as sense organs, they can never come to know the mind. Similarly, this mind also cannot come to know its source. And apply it subjectively. Don't collect this information. Apply it right now. कामः संकल्पः विचिकित्सा श्रद्धा अश्रद्धा धृतिः अधृतिः ह्रीः धीः इति एतत् सर्वं मन एव इति श्रुतेः कामादिवृत्ति मन्मनः. So here it says that Kama. Kama means desire, sankalpa, doubt, samshaya, shraddha, ashraddha, faith and no faith. Then dhairya, fortitude, adhairya, no fortitude. Lajja, buddhi. Lajja is ashamed, buddhi, intellect, and by fear. All these are nothing but the mind alone, different aspects of the mind. तेन मनसा यत् चैतन्य ज्योतिः मनसः अवभासकं न मनुते न संकल्पयति न अपि निश्चिनोति लोक मनसः अवभासकत्वेन नियन्तृत्वात् सर्वविषयं प्रति प्रत्यग एव इति स्वात्मनि न प्रवर्तन्ते अंतःकरणम् अंतस्थेन हि चैतन्य ज्योतिषौ अवभासितस्य मनसः मनन सामर्थ्यम्. Here he says that by this mind, this Chaitanya Jyoti cannot be thought, imagined, or illumined as it is the controller of the mind. तेन मनसा यत् चैतन्य ज्योतिः मनसा अवभासकं न मनुते न संकल्पयति न अपि निश्चिनोति लोकः. It cannot come to conclusion who it is, what it is, where it is, what is this source. It can come up with many imaginations, but it cannot conclusively say what it is. Why it cannot say? Because just like the wave cannot come to know the water, the ornament cannot come to know the gold, the wife cannot come to know the woman. Wife has to vanish in order for woman to express. Similarly, the mind cannot come to know the Chaitanya Jyoti, the divine spark, the conscious spark, the conscious light. And in this way, although the mind can go to all objects, but it cannot go to its source. It can objectify everything in this world, but it cannot objectify the source, the Chaitanya Jyoti. And in this way, it cannot objectify its source. And why it is not able to objectify its source? Because the mind is able to function only because of that source. Otherwise it cannot function. Just as the senses cannot function without the mind, similarly the mind cannot function because of the Chaitanya Jyoti, conscious spark. You call that conscious spark Chaitanya Jyoti as the life principle, you call it Chaitanya Jyoti, Chetana, and that Chetana is nothing but the reflection of the divine, if you put it that way. And in this manner, अंतस्थेन हि चैतन्य ज्योतिषौ अवभासितस्य मनसः मनन सामर्थ्यं तेन सवृत्तिकं मनो येन ब्रह्मणा मतं विषयीकृतं व्याप्तम् आहुः कथयन्ति ब्रह्मविदः. Here he says that same thing what I just said. I'm just preempting the thoughts, and that is that the mind cannot illuminate that which is because of which it is it has the ability to function, and by this Chaitanya Jyoti, the mind gets activated, and this and what is the activation of the mind? The appearance of the thoughts and the disappearance of the thoughts. That is the activation of the mind, and 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 this mind is completely pervaded by this Chaitanya Jyoti, by this Atma Jyoti or this Brahman, and therefore Tasmat Tadeva Manasaha Atmanam Pratyak Chetayitaram Brahma Vidhi ne na idam ityadi purvavat, and so so here the teacher is saying, therefore tadeva manasah atmanam pratyak chetayitaram brahma vidhi. Recognize, the teacher is telling the student, hey, O student, therefore recognize that this Chaitanya Vastu alone is pervading in and through the mind, activating the mind, and yet independent of the mind. Without which this mind cannot function. What is the difference between the Chaitanya Vastu and the mind? Someone? What is the difference between the conscious spark or the Atmic spark and the mind?
Swami, the mind cannot function without the Atmic spark empowering it.
Yes, but
whereas Atmic spark is independent on its own or is dependent on a higher step in the hierarchy, which is the supreme consciousness.
Yes, very good. Anyone else? Any other brain waves?
Consciousness with thoughts is mind. Consciousness without thoughts is consciousness.
Okay. Mind without thoughts is consciousness.
Mind without thoughts is consciousness.
That is, in the beginning we make you understand that way. But mind without thoughts or with thoughts does not matter to consciousness. Can you say ocean without waves is equal to water? Or water is in spite of ocean and waves? Isn't it? That statement that mind without thoughts is consciousness is told to the seeker because you are thinking. Ocean doesn't think. You are a thinker, you are a seeker, you are a contemplator, you sit in meditation, and therefore a way to access that or be that conscious principle is told, that which is present in spite of the absence and presence. But before you go and transcend the presence of thought and absence of thought, what is the one step before? Oh, because thoughts are troublemakers in our mind, they hijack our mind, they distract our mind from contemplating on the truth. So it is told that when the thoughts subside, that means you are not disturbed by the thoughts, then there is this gap, there is this absence. That being in that absence without going to sleep, being in that absence without going to sleep, you access yourself.
Swamiji, the mind is also subject to so much of flux and changes.
That is its nature.
Stable.
What is there? Say again.
The consciousness or the supreme consciousness is stable without any change, whereas the mind is constantly going in and out of thoughts and constant flux is happening in the mind.
True, but when I say to you, are you disturbed? The father, the son, the husband, he appears and disappears from the man. Does it affect the man? No. Then who's miserable? The husband is miserable, the son is miserable, the father is miserable. Similarly, we cannot say that consciousness is separate to the mind. It is not separate to the mind, it is the one without a second. So, but as I said, when we are approaching meditation, this can be a good tool. That mind without thoughts, what it does it lead to? It leads to nirvikalpa samadhi. But that is not our goal. Our goal is to recognize in the presence or in the absence of thoughts. We are not fighting, we are not having a wish or a desire or an expectation to remove the thoughts, nor to have the thoughts, nor to indulge in the thoughts. Just as if you take a total experience, just like every day the waking, dream and deep sleep are coming and going, and someone knows these three are coming and going. That one is that Chaitanya Vastu. He alone is expressing as the waker, dreamer, sleeper. But is that one who knows these three are coming and going, is he disturbed by these three coming every day and going every day? No. If he is not disturbed, then how come you are disturbed as a seeker? Because you are taking yourself as a waker. You are not taking yourself as that one in whose presence the waking, dream, deep sleep experiences coming and going on a daily basis. You are not taking yourself as the one in whose presence the presence and absence of thought is continuously taking place. We have to take that position. If we don't take that position, then we are in the mind. And this has to be done while listening, this has to be done while talking, this has to be done 24/7, 365 days a year. Antar lakshya bahir drishti. Our attention is on that unchanging, flux-free principle that I am. It is your experience that the waking comes and goes, the dream comes and goes, the sleep comes and goes. But do you ever have an experience where you say, I have come and gone? Do you say ever that I am absent? What comes and goes is the phenomena. But no person ever says that I have come and gone. I have become absent. I have always been. So who has come and gone? Oh, the fatherhood came and went, the brotherhood came and went, the employee came and went, the seeker came and went, the meditator came and went. But nobody says that I have become absent. Nobody says I have become absent. Nobody has ever had an experience that of their own absence. You have experience of something. You can never have an experience of yourself. You cannot have. And when you have experience of something, that something can come and go. That something can become an object of knowledge. But the self, this Chaitanya Vastu, cannot become an object of knowledge. And the example from the second verse onwards, the Upanishad is telling us that the eyes cannot see themselves, the mind cannot know itself. We cannot know that which is inspiring. We cannot know that which is inspiring the instruments.
That's why it is saying Nedam Yedidam Upasate. Don't take this.
Say Neelkantan, what you want to say?
Yedidam Upasate.
Ye-
Nedam Yedidam Upasate. Do not objectify the self.
That's right. Don't objectify the self.
Yeah.
And don't consider The other side is, as I am repeating again, don't consider that these equipments are the reality because their nature is continuously changing, because we have taken ourselves to be the mind, and that's where the mistake we are making. And taking ourselves, considering ourselves to be the mind, and contemplating by the mind what that which is inspiring the mind, that Chaitanya Vastu, that Chaitanya Jyoti, that's divine spark, which is the source, which is the controller, which is the illuminator of the mind itself. How can the lower come to know the higher? Not possible. So you have to first decide where you are. You have to assess yourself. Are you at the body level? Are you at the speech level? Are you at the senses level? Are you at the mind level? And keep and recognize in this Upanishad, recognize that you are not the equipments. We are not talking about God. We are not talking about Bhagwan. We are not talking about, okay, we have called it the Keneshitam. He asked, what is it? The student didn't even know what it is. Because any name you give, as Swami, any name given to the reality is an abuse. Gali hai. Because any name you give, it is limited. So, where are we? So in this way, where are we? तस्मात् तदेव मनसः आत्मानं प्रत्यक् चेतयितारं ब्रह्म विद्धि नेदं न इदम इति इत्यादि पूर्ववत्. And meaning same thing, that the last part, nedam yadidum upasate, do not consider the senses and the mind, the equipments, to be the reality, and don't think that through the equipments you can come to know the reality. It is impossible. You have to come to this conclusion that you are of the nature of a reality in whose presence all these equipments, the mind, the intellect, the memories, the ahanta, the senses, sense perceptions, the sense organs, and thereafter the whole world is getting activated because you are there. You as the spirit, you as the divine spark. So don't go looking for the divine spark, except you are the divine spark. बाप रे, इतनी बड़ी responsibility. Well, why are you listening to Upanishad? Why have you come on the spiritual path? To know yourself. So be ready to be free. Continuing in the similar manner, yat chakshusha na pashyati, yat chakshusha na pashyati, yena chakshunshi pashyati, yena chakshunshi pashyati, tadeva brahma tvam vidhi, tadeva brahma tvam vidhi, na idam yadidum upasate, nedam yadidam upasate. Together. यच्चक्षुषा न पश्यति येन चक्षुषि पश्यति तदेव ब्रह्म त्वं विद्धि नेदं यदिदमुपासते. This Keneshitam, that supreme, that inspirer, that Chaitanya Jyoti, is that which cannot be seen by the eyes, but by whose help, by the support, by the grace of that Chaitanya Jyoti, the eyes are able to illuminate the objects. And therefore, that inspirer, consider it to be Brahman, consider it to be that reality, because of which eyes meaning all the five senses. So consider it to be the reality. Tadeva Brahma Tab Vidhi. So, so and this Brahma, it is beyond the Desha Kala Vastu, and that person who the people, now because we are coming to senses, and before the previous verse the mind has an insatiable urge to imagine and because of the mind, and mind alone is functioning through the senses. Here it says chakshu means all the five. So when it functions through chakshu, it imagines the form. And take this with a, what do you call, in the positive way, that anything that is under the conditioning of time, space and objectivity. So when you say that the eyes, we are talking about eyes, so when we see from eyes, we have given a form to that Ishvara, we have given the form to the various gods, to that infinite, we call him some by different names. So here, so when we give someone a form, whom we have given a form, that which is the inspire of every equipment, who has given the form to that infinite? The equipments. The mind has imagined it, the eyes have created the colors and the form, the ears gave it the sound, the speech gave it a name. So here, so don't consider that Chaitanya Vastu to be under the purview or under the parameters of time, space and objectivity. That Paramatma, that Brahman, that Chaitanya Vastu is independent of Desh Kala Vastu. Don't make that mistake. Na idam yadidam upasate. And what are we doing? This is where the Upanishads are taking us beyond. What do? We go to the temples, we go to the Lord, we go to... Nothing wrong. Everything is Brahman. But is your understanding there, or are you considering that alone? If you have considered that Shivlinga in Shiva Vishnu temple to be the Chaitanya Vastu, then your vision is transformed. If you can develop this vision that in the metal or the stone statue you can see the Chaitanya Vastu, the infinite consciousness, then wherever you see, you will see only that. But that is not our case. Our case is the God is in the temple, but my wife or husband is not the God. With that I have to fight. Children I have to control. From the Navagraha I have to be afraid. That is not transformation of the vision. This is what here it is telling, that don't consider anything which is under the parameters of time, space and objectivity to be that infinite reality, that Brahman. It is your imagination. When we say the senses cannot reach, the eyes cannot see that reality which is inspiring it, so also the other senses. When we say, when the Upanishad is saying mind cannot contemplate on that power, that Chaitanya Vastu which is inspiring the mind itself, then how can you give it a form? How can you give it a name? How can you give it an objective? How can you have an objective experience of that essence?
That's why possibly most of us go to the temple and close our eyes.
Yes, that's true. You heard what he said. He said when we go to the temple, the first thing we do is, how beautiful, and we close our eyes, isn't it? Because we all know, knowingly or unknowingly, that the divinity is within. It is subjective. It's not objective. But very quickly we get lost in that objectivity. So therefore, very, very important here. What is that? Antar lakshya bahirdrishti. Let the senses do what they have to do. That is their job, whatever they have to do. Let the mind think whatever it has to think. What it is thinking: waking, dream, deep sleep, waking, dream, deep sleep, meditation, waking, dream, deep sleep, meditation. You stand apart. Because whatever the mind is searching, you are already. The wave just doesn't know that what it is searching. It's searching the infinite waters. But it is already that. Because it is not. Because it is searching, so the thoughts are coming in it, in the mind. Stop searching. Accept. Our problem is we don't want to accept. Anyway, let's see what the Upanishad says. Yat chakshusha na pashyati na vishayi karoti antahkarana vritti sanyuktena lokaha. The people or seekers who they cannot see through the eyes of their antakaran or the thoughts of the antakaran, meaning the संयुक्तेन लोकः येन चक्षुषि अंतःकरण वृत्ति भेद भिन्न भिन्ना चक्षुः वृत्तिः पश्यति चैतन्य आत्म ज्योतिषा विषयी करोति व्याप्नोति. Vyapnoti means pervade. So instead, what is this reality? Again, same point what we have already said. Just I am reading, so we have to tell. And that is that instead, so the thoughts of the antakaran cannot illuminate, cannot come to know, cannot see the source. Instead, that because of which the antakaran is able to think. That is the reality. And that one reality, why does it is Purnamada Purnamidam. It is everywhere. There is no place that it is not. Then why is it that we have to look for it inside and but scriptures say it is inside and outside. Then why am I not able to catch it? Because our attention is on the manyness. Bheda vritti, bhinnaha. यहाँ पे word came bhinnaha. That one consciousness is appearing as many because of the thoughts. That one woman is appearing as many because she is choosing to be the mother or the daughter or the sister or the wife, whatever. That one gold is appearing to be many ornaments. Actually, it is one gold, but one thing, say one gold, you call it as anklet, another one as necklace, another as ring, another as bracelet, but it is all gold only. Similarly, mind is nothing, antakaran is nothing but that pure consciousness, that Chaitanya Vastu. But that Chaitanya Vastu, that pure consciousness appears to be broken up because of the thoughts. Because of the thoughts. See? So here he says that so he says that Vishay Karoti Vyapnoti. You recognize that this Chaitanya, Atma, Jyotisha means this conscious, Atmic spark or divine spark. It is that which is you are. Don't forget, you are that divine spark. That is your nature. You are pervading all the Vishayas. You are pervading the entire mind. You are pervading the entire thoughts. You are pervading the entire waking, dream and deep sleep. Accept it, man. Like you accepted last week when we told you that the mind was pervading all. Mind was the material out of which the entire dream experience was created. The dream world was created. The mind itself became the dreamer. The mind itself became the dream world. The mind itself became the dream experience. True? Or these three, none of them came from outside. The mind only became everything. So where this game of three is going on, there the consciousness seems to be broken up. These three we have to dissolve. And how do we dissolve? We cannot do anything about the objects. We cannot do anything about we can ask the question, who is the experiencer? I am the experiencer. You can do something about you. And what is that you do? Recognize. Only recognition is required. Nothing needs to be done. And what is the recognition? Are you the Gaunatma? Are you the Mithyatma? Or are you the Mukhyatma? Are you the virtual person? Are you the illusory person? Virtual person means father, mother, daughter, sister. Illusory person means I am the Jivatma. I am the ego. I was born. I am this body. Body identification gives rise to this Jivatma. And who are you essentially? Mukhyatma. Mukhyatma means the Chaitanya Vastu, the Chaitanya Jyoti, the infinite consciousness. So we have got entangled in our own thoughts of the mind because we have considered ourselves to be the mind. And here the Upanishad is prodding us by different ways to bring us back to our essential nature, and nothing needs to be done. You have to just accept. Someone told you you are a girl, you accepted. Someone told you you are a wife, bala dal di, mangal sutra dal diya, you are a wife and you are a husband. You accepted. Someone told you that you are grown up now. You accepted. If Upanishad is telling you that you are the Chaitanya Vastu, why don't you accept? If everything in the world you have accepted only, you accepted that hospital certificate that these are your parents, you only accepted, you don't have the experience. Then why don't we accept that we are the Chaitanya Vastu, that we are the infinite consciousness? We are the one in whose presence all the equipments, the mind, the antakaran, the mana buddhi chitta ahankar, and the senses and the organs of action and the entire world is getting inspired. But our thought, how do you know how it goes? Oh, but how this world was there before me, this world will be after me. Oh my God, I am inspiring the world. That is too much responsibility. Arey बुद्धू ये तो सोच लो कि don't go into your default defensive attitude. The whole world is in your mind only. Because if you don't have the mind, you can't think of the world. Just like the dream world was in your mind only, the waking also is in your mind. Now, instead of thinking it is not possible, now find out if scriptures are saying it, there must be a reason they are saying it. So, what I need to do, where am I falling short in order to recognize that the whole world is my own expanse, the expanse of the self alone. How can I bring this about, this recognition that the entire equipment is getting inspired due to the presence that I am as the pure consciousness? Where am I falling short? Not how it is difficult. That's not the positive approach. A positive approach is if Upanishads are saying it, Mahatmas have realized it, where am I falling short? If I have to just accept it, why am I not able to accept it? What is that default in which my mind is stuck like a tape loop, you know? You put that on repeat, the tape, same song keeps repeating again and again. We are also repeating the same. I am the body, I am the body, I am the body, I am the body. My husband, my wife. My children, my husband, my wife. My money, my house, my cleaning, my car. Change, yaar. And I am telling again and again, Arjuna did not do any sadhana. He only accepted what Krishna Bhagwan shared with him. Parikshit Maharaj did not do any sadhana. He attentively listened to Shukdevji Maharaj and accepted what that great master was telling him about himself. And what was he telling? You are that reality. Don't be afraid of that takshak. And in the similar manner, tadevatam, what is that? Nedam yadidam tadeva brahmatvam viddhi nedam yadidam upasate. Do not contemplate on conditioned reality. Yes, that's another word we can use. Don't contemplate on the conditioned reality as the ultimate. What is conditioned reality? Be ready. Narayana with Vaikunt, Ram with Saket, Shivji with Kailash. If you don't have understanding and you are wanting to experience, I have come across so many people who come and say, Swamiji, when will I get darshan of Shirdi Sai Baba? When they see Devo Ke Dev Mahadev, they want Shivji to come there, right there and then in front of him, because they see him coming in front of other devotees in the serial. They want Krishna Bhagwan to come. When will that come? What will you do after he comes? Dhruva also meditated on Krishna. What happened on Narayana? What happened to him after that? He didn't gain liberation. Yudhishthir also came to know that Krishna is the ultimate Purushottama. He did not get liberation. He only went to heaven. What are you going to know by seeing him in your presence? In the end, it's only the imagination of the mind. If there is a form, if there is a experience, objective experience, it is projection of your mind. And why has the Lord appeared? Because you surrendered to him. But that Lord, which the mind has imagined to be so and so with this form or that form or this Makara Kundal or with Trishul or Jata or with Gangaji on top. It is your imagination. Here it is in this Upanishad it's clearly told. Tadeva Brahma Tvam Vidhi na idam yadidam upasate. Do not take conditioned reality to be the ultimate. Otherwise, we are again subjected to birth rebirth. What are we seeking? Jivan Mukti. We are seeking Jivan Mukti. When we go to these gods, then what will happen? They have to get their work done. They will send you back. How do they send back? As Siddhas. Go, do our job. For the world is reality. From conditioned reality point of view, what is conditioned reality? Conditioned totality. If there is totality, then there is individuality also. Then the totality will try to take care of the individuality. Cause and effect. देखना पड़ेगा भाई इन सब का. Whoever prays to me, I have to bless him. Whoever abuses me, I have to curse. I have to help the society. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. I have to reincarnate again and again. This is conditioned reality. Here we are not talking about that. All that happens. That's separate. That's a different part. Here we are after Jivan Mukti, liberation. We want to be that being which after that there is no birth and there is no death for us. There is no more precipitation of the body. No conditioning ever possible after that. Are you ready? Then dive into this Upanishad. Masters say these Upanishads are not for the faint-hearted. You need to have jigra hona chahiye, jigra. Jigra matlab you need to have courage. Because knowingly, unknowingly, out of superstition, belief, whatever you have considered, everything is going to be pulled away from you. And you will be delivered to yourself. See? Continuing in the next verse. In the 7th. Yat shrotreణ न शृणोति यत् श्रोत्रेण न शृणोति येन श्रोत्रमिदगं श्रुतं येन श्रोत्रमिदगं श्रुतं तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि नेदं यदिदमुपासते नेदं यदिदमुपासते. टुगेदर. यत् श्रोत्रेण न शृणोति येन श्रोत्रमिदगं श्रुतं तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि नेदं यदिदम् upasate. Exactly the same way, like before it was chakshu, now it is shrotra. What is this? Yat shrotrena na shrunoti. That reality, that inspirer, which cannot be heard, but because of which the Shrotrendriya, meaning the faculty of listening, is activated or is functioning, understand that to be Brahman. And in the same way, Tadeva Brahma Tvam Vidhi na idam yadidam upasate. Don't contemplate on the conditioned, on the reality with the parameters of Desh Kala Vastu. Yat shrotrena na shrunoti dik devata adhisthitena akasha manovritti sanyuktena na vishayi karoti lokaha येन श्रोत्रम इदम श्रुतम यत् प्रसिद्धम चैतन्य आत्म ज्योतिषा विषयीकृतम तदेव इत्यादि पूर्ववत्. So what is this shrotrena na shrunoti? What is this ear where the faculty of listening is there? Ear is that instrument which is pervaded by the Dig Devata. Dig means space, the Devata of the space. It is so because there is space, therefore ears have come. Because ears are there, simultaneously the sound also got created. Because what is the use of having ears without any sound? It's not because there is sound, so ears came. No, both are coexisting. How they are coexisting? Just like husband and wife are coexisting. Without a husband, wife cannot. Woman cannot say, "I am a wife." No. Similarly, who else is coexisting? Jeev, Jagat, Ishwar is coexisting. One cannot be without the other two. Jagat cannot be without the Ishwar or the Jeev. Jeev cannot be without the Ishwar or the Jagat. And Ishwara has got no meaning if there is no Jagat and Jeev. Catch this. So, this, it is the quality of the space, and thus it also cannot know the reality, the Chaitanya Vastu. The ears cannot come to know the reality as consciousness, but that consciousness pervades the ears also. It pervaded the antakaran, it is pervading the faculties of senses. And one of them now, before it was the eyes, now it is the ears. And in this manner, Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi na idam yadudam upasate is the same as what we said before. Nothing new to add. Yat pranena na praniti ye yat pranena praniti yena pranah praniyate yena pranah praniyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Together, yat pranena praniti yena pranah praniyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. Again the pranena granena. Here two things are taken, that is what do you call, the grana, our what do you call, Shankaracharya ji says, yat pranena granena parthivena nasika putanta avasthite antahkarana prana vrittibhyam sahitena yanna praniti gandhavat na vishayi karoti yena chaitanya atmajyoti shahu avabhasatvena swavishayam prati prana praniyate tadeva ityadi sarva samanam. So here pranena granena, he is saying that Gran is explained, and what is Gran? Gran is the ability to smell. Smelling is because of the nose, and smell is the what you call, because the Prithvi Tattva is there, therefore the smell is available. So the faculty of smell, Gran, is made up of Prithvi Tattva. And this Prithvi Tattva, we are not talking about earth, the Tattva we are talking about. That Tattva is located in the nostrils. And that tattva, the faculty, the capacity to smell is also associated with the mind, and therefore that which cannot be smelled and because of which nose is able to smell, recognize that to be the Brahman. Now this whole journey you see it in yourself. The ability to smell is in the nose, in the nostrils. It is because of the Prithvi Tattva. That faculty is connected to the mind. That which cannot come to know its source, but because of which it is the nose is able to smell. Consider that to be Brahman. What so difficult? In this way, here it says, Tadeva Brahma Tvam Vidhi Na Idam Yadidam Upasate. Now, here we can see it as Tvam Brahma Eva, Tvam Vidhi Eva, Evam Tvam Vidhi, and Tad Brahma Eva. See, in different ways it can be broken up. You can, in Sanskrit, you can put words with anything, front, back, in between. You can connect, but the meaning remains the same. It's how you look at the whole thing. Tvam Brahma, you are the infinite. Tvam Brahma. Tvam Brahma Eva, you alone are the infinite. Then Tvam Vidhi Eva, you alone know it. Nobody else can know it. No teacher can make you know it. No God can make you know it. No scriptures can make you know it. You have to know it by yourself, in yourself, and vanish in that process, and yet be. So, Tvam Vidhi Eva, you alone know it. Eva Tvam Vidhi. Again, it's a command. Alone you know. Nobody else can know. Tad Brahma Eva. That is Brahma alone, Brahman alone. Have no doubt about this as to what your nature is. We may not have the aparoksha anubhuti of it. We may not be having the direct experience of it. But that is only because we have doubt about our own nature. We are considering ourselves to be the Gaunatma or the Mithyatma. We are never accepting ourselves to be the Mukhyatma. Oh, but I was born from my parents. Isn't it my duty? This body was born, Baba. You were not born. Atma is never born. After listening to all this, who ask these type of questions, then next time I'll put a sign, detour. Go to some other shop. Not available here. Answer to this question. See, we are so steeped in this misunderstanding that we are this body, we are this mind, we are these senses, we are these organs of action. See, I'll tell one more thing. Even being the body, the senses, the mind, the intellect, is not a problem. It is not a problem. Then what is the problem? Can someone tell me? In which angle I am going?
Thinking it is only this body.
Amma, I love you. So being the body is not a problem. I am only this body is the problem. फिर उसके लिए अब स्क्रिप्चर्स, व्हाट विल द स्क्रिप्चर्स डू? दे विल ओनली से ओम सहस्र शीर्षा पुरुषा सहस्राक्ष सहस्रपाद. दे ट्राई टू इन्वोक, hey, at least we keep chanting it, but we never understand the meaning of it. And even if we understand the meaning, we superimpose that meaning on the Lord. We never take it subjectively. See how much disservice we are doing to ourselves. Then why do we have gods? To purify. To purify. Even now we are coming towards the conclusion of Bhagavatam. Throughout the Bhagavatam, the Leelas of the Lord, the devotees of the Lord, the stories of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord, the Ras Leela of the Lord, everything was told. But then came the 11th canto. 11th canto, everything about knowledge, nothing about Leela, all knowledge. Then came in the 11th canto, 28th chapter. 28th chapter of the 11th, 28, 29, 30th, these three chapters, they are talking about Brahman. There is nothing about Krishna Leela there. Krishna Bhagwan is telling Uddhav as to what his true nature is. Not Krishna's nature. Uddhav. See? And having heard, so all those 6 days Parikshit was listening to those stories. Then came the highest truth. This was the Vedanta that was given there. Many places it came, but in spurts here and there. Here continuously 3 chapters, nothing but the sadhana. Before, always the sadhana used to be, meditation used to be, oh, raise your energy, think of Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, think of your between the lips and merge into the Lord. All that was told. Here, nothing like that. But because Parikshit Maharaj heard all those stories, fell in love with the divine, and very gentle operation is being done on the seeker, Parikshit, that he becomes available to himself. And in the 12th canto, when the Takshak snake comes and kills him, bites the body, not kills him, bites the body and spreads his poison to kill that body, because Takshak can only kill the body, he cannot kill the person. When does the person die? When he is thinking he is the body. Then he will be afraid. But Parikshit Maharaj has transcended the body identification. He has become Jivan Mukta before the Takshak came and bit him. If there the Takshak is death, do we know when death is coming? No. Are we ready? Are we ready? We will be ready only when Tvam Brahma eva, Tvam Vidhi eva, eva Tvam Vidhi, Tat Brahma eva. When you take it subjectively, when you once you, without any doubt, without any sanshay, without any second thought, accept yourself to be that one without a second, to be that inspirer, to be that an all-pervasive consciousness, that Chaitanya Jyoti, that Atma Jyoti. See? And when so in this chapter, when it says Tadeva Brahma Tvam Viddhi, there is not even an iota of doubt left, should be left in the mind of the seeker. Tadeva Brahma Tvam Viddhi. Viddhi means know. Knowing and being these are not two separate events. We as a seeker, we are knowing through the mind this information of the Upanishads, and then we want to be. That is where our shortfall is. We are of the nature of being, we are of the nature of knowledge. And when this clicks, then Anandam, being is Sat, knowing is Chit. What is the what happens when I know I am? Then Anandam. I know I am forever and ever and ever. There is no, now I know in meditation, in samadhi I know myself, but afterwards I don't know, I have to go again. No, not that. It requires a cool approach in which we are ready to give up every preoccupation with objectivity or preoccupation with objective experience. Our natural disposition in this world is not to have an experience of something. And that same parameters that I know and what I know is separate to me. And therefore I know. Because I am not that. That same parameter, same way we approach the world, we try to bring that when it comes to the self. I want to know. But I can't know. Well, I know this laptop, I am not the laptop. So here also, I want to know the self. Yeah, I know the self. But somewhere in default, I am not the laptop, so I am separate from the self is still going on. Somewhere. Unknowingly. Because of our continuous interaction day and night for last so many decades, having accepted that the world is separate from me, that I am only this body, and so on. So we need to change some notions. We have to change the approach. And therefore, Tadeva Brahma Tvam Viddhi na Tadeva Brahma Tvam Viddhi. You are and you know you are. Do you need to speak that you are at this moment? At this moment, you are or are you not? Because I am asking question, you will say, yes, I am. But if I am not asking this question, are you still there? Are you not? You still are. You don't need to prove to anyone. So you are, and without a thought, you know also. The more you abide in that thought free abidance, देखो फिर आनंद ही आनंद. So in this manner, so here when it says, what did it say? Yat pranena na praniti. Again, prana are used here. First it called pranena granena, but also as the prana. What is that because of which the pranas are inspired? So direct the pranas towards that infinite reality. Make them, you can take the support of the gross pran or life itself. Bring your mind, bring your thoughts to be focused, to be single pointed, and discover the truth within. And it can, and how is it discovered within? It is discovered as one's own essential nature. It is discovered as the essence that I am. And it is independent of thoughts. And when we say it is independent of thoughts, does not mean absence of thoughts. Independent of thought means that presence or absence of thoughts does not influence it. You're getting it? And when this clicks, when this clicks, then how will the upasana be done? Upasana means single pointedness, or naam jap, or listening, or speaking. How will it be done? Now you have understood. It will be, once this doubt is removed, then upasana is done as the expression of the self. It is not done to gain the self. See the difference? Because something has to go on, no? So then upasana is done as the expression of the self. So what I am speaking, is it to convince myself, or is it an expression of the self? Remember once one Mahatma was reading Bhagavad Gita, one devotee came and asked him, "Sir, they say you are realized. Then why are you reading Bhagavad Gita?" He said, "I am checking what it is writing about me." Say, मेरे बारे में क्या बोल रही है? Similarly, what are these Upanishads talking about me, about the self that I am? अच्छा, ऐसे है. Be in the wonderment. Be fascinated. Approach it as if you are exploring yourself. Not out of need, not out of a purpose to reach somewhere. नहीं, लीला चल रही है. It's a game. When you are playing, you are joyful. When you are joyful, you are always playing. So if we are studying this Upanishad with abandonment, with joy, as an expression of the self, then we will not become too serious. Realize karna hai, realize karna hai. And we'll have a cool approach towards it. Cool but purposeful. Cool does not mean अच्छा है तो है, क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है यार का अपना कौन सा क्रिकेट मैच आ रहा है अभी वो देखते हैं. That is not. Cool is not indifference to it. Cool means free of agitation. Cool is possible only when we are subjective. So in this manner, so as we say, when it says here, what is that? Na idam yadidam upasate. So understand, first the bhakti is done as sadhana. That sadhana bhakti, that devotion, excuse me, then that sadhana, when it leads, or as a result of that, say for example, Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para, नाम जप, सिंपल. कलयुग में तो सब नाम जप ही ले रहे हैं, नाम जप. So when that sadhana matures, you come to recognize yourself, then after that what? Then Jnanottara Bhakti. And that is what is going on right now. न idam yadidam upasate. So with this, the teacher concludes the iti prathama khandaha. This he concludes the first chapter, and now the next chapter is going to begin, the dvitiya khanda, and the topic here is very unique, and the uniqueness is just few words and then we'll stop, and that is the topic of this reality, because the question was keneshitam. What is that? That self, that Atma Jyoti, we are calling it by different names. But the teacher is saying, you are asking about that which cannot be spoken of. So I cannot conclusively put it into words to make you understand. And you can never understand. He is telling us in other words. Means the self cannot be put into words, self cannot be known through thoughts. It is anirvachaniya. No words can reach it. Words are at a relative level. Brahman is transcendental, beyond, in and through, all encompassing. Words are limited, and therefore the infinite reality, to know the infinite reality, the teacher has got no vocabulary by way of which he can communicate that reality to the seeker, to the student. And there is no vocabulary or thought by which the student can say, I have understood. This is the conundrum. And yet, the Guru Shishya dialogue goes on. And that will be the next topic. We will elaborate it in our next class. क्या टाइम हो गया? हाँ, we can sit quietly for some time. बहुत हो गया बोलना. ॐ पूर्णमदा पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरिः ॐ. श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ॐ. Sit quietly for 2-3 minutes and then we'll conclude.